Oh shit. Wrong button. Good morning. Good afternoon. How we doing? How are we doing today? Money Mouse, welcome. Hello, hello. It's another big snowy day for me here. We're in a winter storm warning with what is supposed to be a historic amount of snow over here. But you can see it's coming down out my window. I don't know if you can see all the little flakes falling, but we're supposed to get 16 to 22 inches in my neighborhood. So that should be fun. Good afternoon from sunny Toronto. Hello, Marcus. Morning, Matthew. Yes, school's out. It makes sense now. It makes sense now. Can you see it through the window? Do you want me to lift the thing? I'll pull this up. I don't know, maybe the lighting will just be too bright, but yeah, you can see the snow. There you go. That way you can actually see all the snow coming down over there against the backdrop of that electrical box. You can see it. Hello, afternoon, C. Nick. Hi, James from England. Hello, Vibes and Creeks. Yeah, you can see the snow. Yeah, now you can really see it coming down. I'm gonna have to leave. I'm at my office. No way can I stay here till the end of the day. It's only 10:30. I'm gonna have to do this and then finish some work and get out, because otherwise I will get stuck here. It started accumulating. I don't want to be here when it's 16 inches and I cannot drive. That is for sure. But no, I live in Colorado, and we're having historic levels of snow, basically, for this time of year. I do marketing, advertising. Give me the news on Palacios. How long a walk is it to get home? Through 16 inches of snow, I'd rather sit in the car and just literally plow. And it's like 2.5 miles, which isn't long, but trying to walk 2.5 miles through 16 inches of snow would be worse. I mean, I'll survive here at my office, but I don't want to abandon my family for a whole, I don't want to sleep here. We haven't had snow this early, like this big, this early, in a long time. In a few years, it's been kind of calm, but it's back. So yeah. Anyway, what are we doing today? What am I talking about? The lawnmower man is staying warm? Yeah, I think he's going to remain inside for his own sake. Amad Diallo, huh? What do you think? What do you guys think of Amad Diallo, huh? Yeah, I've got a good car. I've got a 4-wheel drive Audi. It'll be fine. I just don't want to wait. There's a point where it piles up too high, where it doesn't really matter what kind of car you have, unless I can take my wife's Jeep. That would work too. But that would work in the deep snow. But my car will not, no matter what. And it's not the drive at that point. It's just the deepness of the snow. My hair is a mess today. The African Messi, yeah. Straight to the team news for Leicester. Forsen, A Merchant said Forsen is better than Amman. So, look, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. Because a lot of people are saying some shit, have been saying some real shit about all of our players, all of our signings, about players, about signings, about everything. And the thing is that you can see by a player like Ahmad, for example, right, that Antony got over a year playing him. Over him. He does everything Antony does profile-wise significantly better. Obviously, yeah, of course he has things to work on. He's only starting one game, every few months. And that's the thing about the judgment that people are putting on our players, is that, like, when you look at it's been very confusing. The way that our players have been assessed, the way they've been evaluated, the way that they've been looked at. It's wild. It's wild because it's completely mismanaged. I would say every single player has been completely mismanaged. Garnacho, for example, I defended him in the last one and said that even though I critique him highly, I say it's a coaching issue, right? You look at that game last night, Garnacho probably was told, maybe for the first time, or maybe he just was reading Twitter, honestly, which might have happened, and not even the coaches were doing it, because he did, for the first time in probably 6 months, try to make the overlap passes and try to find the runner. And even though he wasn't doing well with the passes, he was not making successful passes, he was trying, and I look at that and say, there was obvious, he was deliberately looking for them. And I understand he's not good at it, but I wouldn't expect him to be, because when has he ever been asked to do it regularly? Like he overcorrected. Exactly. And I look at that and I go, what the fuck, man? Where's the coaching been all this time? Where it's like one game gets heavy criticism and starts doing it. Like, what about like all the games and all the matches and all the coaching and working together and doing it constantly and regularly and all the things that need to happen? It cannot be like a reaction to one thing. So, good for him in doing it. And I praise him for it because he's trying to improve. He's trying to grow as a player. I appreciate that. But it makes me feel that they have been horridly coached, even more than ever. It makes me feel that they've been just so poorly coached, this team, in what to do and the decisions to make and things like that, because you need to be doing it time and time again, day in and day out and day in and day out, and get it right. And look, it might have been backlash to the Chelsea game and not coaching at all, which is even worse because it means they're not telling him. And I kind of feel like that's the case. I kind of feel like he was responding to the criticism by looking for it and being in his head. And that can be why a player also messes it up. You know what I mean? Like, if it's coached and it's like, okay, this is what we're going to focus on, this is what we're going to do, etc., then fine. If he's sitting there upset about criticism online, it bothers him, it's going to get in his head, and so he's going to be executing poorly. It's just stupid. It's all stupid. And I'm not him, but honestly, like, I think it's so absurd to be right now passing judgment on practically any of our players because of this. And I have players that I think are not good enough. I have players I have doubts on. I have players I have concerns on. I thought Højlund was, again, terrible yesterday. You know what I mean? Back to wrestling constantly, not making space for himself. And I'm like, how with Van Nistelrooy there, is this player not getting the instructions right? It's real funny, right? Because it goes game to game with players and critique. Xerxes came on, made a great pass, and did some good moves right off the bat. His 4-minute cameo was better than Højlund's whole game. So now is Xerxes good and Højlund's shit, and it's the opposite, and it's going to keep flipping each game? No, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. They're both young players. We have so many young players, and you have to realize, from an experience standpoint, Xerxes, Ugarte, and Garnacho are all about the same in terms of their experience. They're all about the same in terms of their actual experience. And Højlund is even less experienced than them, But all of them are about their third season as a first teamer. Højlund is technically third season, but only really second season as a full blood striker. He didn't start all those games at Atalanta, right? Ahmad has only played 2 seasons on loan, right? Other than that, he's never really played consistently. We have a lot of young players who need to develop properly. Like, all of our players, forget the age, right? Forget their ages. Ahmad, Højlund, Xerxes, Garnacho, Ugarte, all of them, and that's a big chunk of the players who are starting and playing for us right now, have about the same level of experience as someone like Bukayo Saka when he was 19. Just bear that in mind. Like, that's the level of experience and minutes and play that we are dealing with in this team, Yeah, I get that about Lamine Yamal and Cole Palmer, but development isn't linear, and it's not the same for every player, and it's far from the same for every player. It's just, it doesn't really work that way. These are the players who break the mold and give people the impression that when someone's in their second or third season, if they're not good enough yet, that it's over. That's just not how it works. That's just not how development works. Lamine Yamal might be the best young player in the entire world. He might be better than Mbappe. Like, that's not the baseline. That's not the measure. The kid might end up being one of the best players in football, period. Look at how good he is. It's unbelievable. Those aren't the baselines for success, And then you get players like Jadon Sancho, who were insanely good by 19, and now look at him. He can't even get in the Chelsea team. He couldn't get into our team. Football is funny, and it takes time. Right, then there's Ansu Fati, who was starting there and turned to shit, and now he's nowhere. Not being mean to him, but he is. Football is so complex, and the developmental patterns and where they're at are so hard, that it's tough to compare. It's tough to draw parallels between different situations, right? For every Wayne Rooney, there's a Jamie Vardy. A guy who burst onto the scene in his late 20s, or whatever, from nowhere. Maybe it wasn't his late 20s, but you know what I mean. There's lots of different examples, of developmental pathways, things like that. Then we've got Lenny Yoro, and Lenny Yoro will be coming into the team now. He's back, obviously, in training. As I said in the last break, we'd expect him to start afterwards. He's had 1 full season. What are you going to do? We know how good Lenny Yoro is, right? Lenny Yoro is incredible. It's an incredible player. Talent level, he could be one of the best center backs in the world. He's going to come on and he's going to make mistakes. And there's going to be games he looks like shit. It's going to happen. It's 100% going to happen. And then what? You got to give it time. You got to give these players time. You got to give them time. I mean, I'll even give Diogo Diallo, the benefit of this, even though he's had some struggles recently. He looked like shit 3-4 years in a row. And then he kicked on for him suddenly. What's he now, 24, 25? So in his 4th season, maybe, of playing football after a couple loans, things like that, it kicked on. It always changes. There's so many differences in how people play and develop, and we have a lot of young players. And they all need time. The things I'm seeing are kind of crazy. There's too many United fans right now. There's too much of a contingent in this fan base of people who want players to fail so that they can be right about it. Too many. Far, far too many. It is a huge contingent of people online right now who want players to fail, who want new signings to fail, people that they want to be right about, saying that they were not good enough, that they won't be there. There's so many of them, or players that they think are the reason we've been failing the last few years. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of people going down that route, and it's sad to see. Because, again, factually, I'm not even talking about necessarily specific people. I mean, you could say I'm talking about Goldbridge or something like that. Fine. With certain players, maybe. He's more supportive of guys like Ahmad and new signings than half the normal people on Twitter. It's kind of sad. It's really weird to see, it's actually really weird to see. There's a big chunk of people, and this is especially on Twitter, right? And it's not just the YouTubers and personalities, that they get a lot of traction on talking, like, wanting players to fail. There's a lot of people out there who, want to explain that why Ahmad has not been playing is because he's terrible. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's the thing on Rashford. Look, I've been in the tunnel in the preseason to see where players are at, and to see how they respond. There's a hell of a lot of players who don't respond. And there's other things that are out of sight. I mean, when I was down in the tunnel this last summer, say for Marcus Rashford as an example, he responded to me, and he went over and shook Stephen Howson's hand and spoke to him for a second. It's not like he's doesn't respond to people, but he certainly knows the people that are constantly abusing him and on his back. Why would he respond to them? You don't have a need to do that. There's other players that don't respond to anybody. Rashford knows who those people are, 100%, and he knows the people who treat him fairly and the people who don't, for sure. And so do a lot of the players. They know, they know, they know, and they have every right to act how they feel. I mean, I would. It is what it is, I've criticized Anthony a lot. When I was in the tunnel and Anthony walked by, I didn't try to say hi to him. I didn't think that was right. I've given too much criticism to sit there and saying, I'm going to criticize him, and then I'm going to walk up to him and be like, oh, Anthony, it's all good, my bro. How you doing? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be like that. I didn't say anything to him. I've got videos of the people that I tried to speak to, people that I wanted to speak to, that anyway, it is what it is, but I try to be fair to almost everybody. I try to be fair, especially publicly, to almost everybody. I've got doubts over players, but at the same time, more than anything, I look at this team, I look at this team and I think that, this camera, man. I look at this team and I think, yeah, you're not wrong. Look, and there's people I like, and they've said some things that I think they probably regret too. And I think a lot of people have made an effort to improve on that basis as well. But anyway, there's a lot of, I've got doubts on players on this team. I've got things that I'm not sure of, but at the same time, I strongly suspect, I don't just suspect, I know that we have not been playing into people's strengths. We have not been playing into people's strengths. We've not been, we've not been setting things up for success. And I think that it's in the modern day, at a club with this much pressure, at a club with this much oversight, at a club where everybody's constantly on watch, it's hard. It's hard to succeed in general. And we've really had no consistency. When I look at, when I say the reasons why, the reasons why we have failed with other managers and all that, what all applies to players too. If the players don't match the managers, how does that work? If the players don't match the manager, how does that work? It fails for the managers. It fails for the players. So we've been doing that for a long time. I mean, look at Arsenal, right? For example, here, they still haven't accomplished anything, and they're already falling off. They're already falling off. It's hard to succeed. It's hard to succeed. But anyway, the judgment of things is also fickle, and it's also like, again, if we ever had an idea from top down, say, this is what we are going to do to win, right? When have we ever had that this is how we're going to play, this is how we're going to set up, this is how we're going to do it? I defend Ugarte, and I'm going to keep defending him until Amarim gets in and gets to use him for at least 3 to 4 months. I think 20 games is the absolute minimum before I pass judgment on people and on players, you know? Yeah, I'll defend Ugarte. He got 1 start in the Premier League under Ten Hag. 1 start in the Premier League under Ten Hag. No, he is good. He is absolutely good. And he will come good. I'm fairly confident of that. You know, he got 1 start, and you tell me, like, how many players have looked good getting 1 start? Oh, and it was against Tottenham too. Oh, and it's in this midfield. Let me ask you all for a second. What player has looked good in our midfield over the last 2 years consistently? Give me 1 player who's looked good in our midfield between this season and last season. A single player who's looked good in our midfield. Mason Mount, maybe for 10 minutes till he gets injured. Whenever Mason Mount plays, people will go, you know, I forgot Mason Mount's playing after 10 minutes. Kabi at best as possible, but even this season, a lot of people were looking at him and he was struggling, and then he got injured. Because he'd been asked to do a job that is practically impossible, you know? Who looks good in this midfield? Not consistently. Kabi was getting overwhelmed too, and everybody knew it. We all remember because we know Kabi Mainu is so good as a talent, right? We know that. We all know that, right? So it's not a criticism of him, you know? Casemiro looks better this season. Last season, we're all saying he's fat, out of shape, finished, can't play, can't do anything, horrible player. They need to get rid of him ASAP. The setup this year is slightly more compact, and he looks a little bit better, you know, and there's better center backs behind him to support him. It's crazy. It's crazy to pass judgment. It's crazy to pass judgment. You know, I said it last year. I hold my hands up on that, you know. I think that Casemiro's actually been decent this season, you know, but look at how he was playing all right. Outside of the Liverpool game, Casemiro's been good. Last year, he was terrible. I mean, unbelievably bad. One of the worst midfielders I have seen at United last year, you know? And does that mean that he's here for the long term? No. Yeah, I mean, Bruno's looked awful for long stretches of time. He was terrible yesterday, frankly, in my opinion anyway. But Bruno's looked awful for long stretches of time. Like, let's be real for a minute here. This is not a team that has been set up for anybody to succeed. Anybody to succeed. Just nobody. You know, every single player on our team has gone through long stretches of looking bad, you know. But I will say, we've played Casemiro and Ugarte 3 games now, is it, in a row? At least we've won 2 and drawn once. How bad can it be? You know, we were 13th. Remember that. We were in 13th, and the only draw was against Chelsea. It's not exactly a failure. You know? It's not exactly a failure, even if the individual performances haven't been there. We're in 13th in the Premier League. We lost more games than ever. At least we won these games. At least we won these games and actually did pretty well. I mean, we kept a clean sheet yesterday. We kept a clean sheet yesterday. It's not an accident either. It's not an accident. Those things happen. I mean, man. Anyway, I think we'll be fine. But regardless, yeah, we've improved to 13th. We were in 14th, actually, yeah. And we won 2 games. We won our first. We were better than Chelsea. We were first. We won our first European game. You could say, well, it's just, you know, it's just PAOK, right? But we fucking drew to FC 20. We drew to FC 20, okay? We drew to FC 20 at home. Yeah, so I am 100% considering them successes, you know? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to call it improvement over what we have seen. Absolutely. 100% I'm calling it improvement over what we've seen. A draw against Chelsea? Look at our big games. 3-0 to Liverpool, 3-0 to Tottenham. At least we nearly beat Chelsea. We should have beat Chelsea. Yeah, there's improvements. It's not much better. It's not much better. It's mostly the same play for the most part. We still played like shit for the most part. But the simple fact of having a midfield that wasn't empty and that had 2 players who had legs actually helps more than it looks like. Sometimes it's that simple, you know? Sometimes it literally is that simple. We're losing to Leicester, though? No, I don't think we will. We have 100% been more solid in midfield. And I guarantee you that if Eriksen starts on Sunday, then it won't look solid anymore. If Eriksen starts again with Casemiro. Because the minute Ugarte came off, even if his performance was mediocre, we were like under it until Ahmad scored that goal. We couldn't get the ball back. They were gaining possession, gaining territory. You can see it in the stats, gaining momentum. And then Ahmad goes and scores that second goal and puts it to bed. But that was all an individual effort. It all came from shoring up that midfield. That's all that happened. It's the only difference. Even if the performances weren't great, that's how funny it is. It's sometimes it is that simple as putting, players in positions to succeed. Putting players in positions to succeed. But regardless, one of the biggest issues is our midfield is always 2 against 3, 2 against 4. So we'll see. I think we'll do all right. One last game. So let's talk about some news now. Let's talk about Amad Diallo. So I think it was back in May that I first mentioned or heard that we were going to be doing a new contract for Amad. I don't remember exactly when it was. Out of curiosity, why do you like Ugarte so much? Well, I like and support every player that we've signed. I mean, I had doubts on De Ligt, and I've defended him more than most. I see a lot of people out there calling De Ligt a flop. I don't get it. I think he's done really well for us. I see a lot of people out there saying he's been bad. I don't understand that. I think he's been really good. I think he's been better than I expected. Same for Xerxes. I defend Xerxes all the time. Because I say we're not playing at all Xerxes' brand of football. And until we do, we won't see him succeed, I've watched a lot of Ugarte as well. And I've watched him play in a Bielsa Uruguay side, in addition, as watching him back at Sporting and all of that. And what we're seeing is a player who's just not settled. That's it. He's just not settled. There was even some moments the other day where he's been running back and forth and he's like throwing his hands up because he's confused, doesn't know what to do. Now, I see that in our team a lot, and that's why I say it's a coaching issue. I specifically pointed it out in my watch-along. It was around the end of the first half. He was running back and forth when United were in possession trying to do something, and then he throws his hands up and he's like, what the hell's going on, right? And then right after that, he actually made a couple really nice passes in possession, driving the ball forward, kicking it out wide and all of that. But there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of confusion in this team. And as I've said before, when you don't know what to do, you make mistakes. You're going to think it's going to take too much time, and then you're going to make mistakes. It happens to everybody. It's the same thing I say with Garnacho and missing those passes. Is Garnacho a footballer who cannot make a 5-yard pass to an overlapping runner? Do you think that? Do you think that he is not talented enough to do it? Or do you think he's overthinking in his head and out of sorts? Which one is more likely to you, right? We know Garnacho because we've watched him for years, so we know, obviously, he could make that pass. Well, what's the difference? What's the difference? But it's all right. It's fine. And people can have their doubts. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I just say that we know exactly how poorly this team has been coached and run for a long time. That I give literally everybody the benefit of the doubt when Amarim comes in. Everybody. And we leave it at that. And people trying to do whatever they want to do, they can go ahead. It's just embarrassing. Especially when certain people, like your friend Regista didn't even watch the Fenerbahce game before calling him crap when he was really good. But yeah, United fans are very judgmental. Even Anthony, we'll see. I think Anthony's gotten the most fair run out because he played under a manager who knows him, who used him, who got the most out of him, and he was still bad. I think he got the most fair judgment on him of anybody. He got to play in his position and start week after week after week after week after week, and we got what we saw. So more than anybody, I think he's had a fair run out. I'm not saying not all players have had a fair run out. I mean, Diallo's had a fair run out. I still have doubts on him, especially in the final third. Lissandro, we know what he is. Some good, some bad too, Like, I don't need to hold my judgment on what those types of players are. But yeah, yeah. But a lot that haven't played, a lot that haven't got going, a lot that have been bounced around. Yeah, I mean Anthony is shit, but yeah, putting all the hate on Garnacho when you haven't been training attacking patterns. I agree. Players are probably in a state of flux. Yeah, 100%. So Ahmad, we talked about him and getting a new contract at the end of last season. Was when we first talked about it. It'd be a subject to be brought up. I think it was April or May. And, there was a while here where it was pretty stalled. And I can say for sure that there was concerns on his side that about signing a new contract with us after everything that's happened, because for obvious reasons, young players who want to go actually get going in their careers, who want to play regularly, all of that. He felt very strongly like he was being let down on that and it's not like he downed tools. It's not like he doesn't train hard. He doesn't look like he's working every day on it, but he for sure had doubts about signing a new deal. And if Ten Hag was still here, I don't think he would, because I don't think he would play. Now, obviously, he's still going to have to prove to Amorim that he can play and see where he lands. So I don't expect any new deal to get signed soon, but the club want to keep Ahmad. He would like to stay as long as he's going to be utilized. That makes sense for every player, right? As long as he's going to feel an important part of it. New manager coming in, Ruben will get a look at him, see how it goes, and then I would expect by January he'll kind of know and be able to sign. Maybe even a little before that, because they won't want to go in there where he can sign a pre-contract elsewhere. So hopefully a little sooner, and the clock's ticking, obviously, but a month of Amorim getting to see him, I think will be enough to know, hey, are we going to use this player? Are you going to play? And so I think he will sign. I think he's more. I know he's happier at the moment, and I know that he had serious concerns if things were going to continue the way that they were about signing, and now he won't be as concerned. So, that's good. So I think in the end he's going to sign, because I think. We've been watching a lot of Sporting, right? We've been watching a lot of Sporting. What I like about Ahmad is he looks like he's coachable. I think he is, yeah. We've been watching a lot of Sporting recently, and when I watch them play, I keep saying this, that Ahmad looks like a perfect fit in that front three as kind of a playmaker, he looks perfect. You can see that he can run with the ball, that he can dribble, that he can take it, that he can create, that he can fight. And I think that's good. So he looks like a player that'll fit in there. He looks like a player that will fit in there. So I think he's going to get a good run out of form under Amorim. And I think what we're going to see under Amorim is a good amount of rotation early on, and a good amount of substitutions. He rotates a lot, and he makes a lot of subs every game, as many as he can. I mean, he is very what's the word for it? Liberal with the substitutions. Like, he will make 3 at halftime if he wants to make 3 at halftime. He will. He absolutely will. So he'll do that a lot. So I think that's going to mean a lot of our players get chances to go. He subs his wingbacks too. He does. And that's why I say I think we're going to see guys like wingers at wingback, because it's not like it's some like crazy thing that can't be changed. You'll just sub him if it's not working. He'll just sub him if he's not working. That's why I think we will see Garnacho at wingback some games. That's why I will think we will see things like that, even though, if we have Shaw and Mazraoui, those are probably easily our 2 best wingbacks, like way better than anything else. They'd both be amazing at wingback for me. But sometimes he goes more aggressive than that, even in attacking. But then again, our defenders. Then again, part of the thing here, is that Kyle. Part of the thing is that he may use wingers at wingback because he doesn't have defenders with that level of talent or technical ability. We do. Shaw and Mazraoui are both so good on the ball and technical that he may not need wingers in there. But if Shaw can stay healthy, that's obviously a whole different story. But let's talk about that for a minute. So obviously back in training, Luke Shaw fully back. Yeah, obviously Luke Shaw is fully back, and for now we'll see how many games. Mason Mount is back. We'll see for how many games. Lenny Yoro has been in full training. Kobbie Mainoo is expected to be fully back during the break. So we're going to get a lot of players able to play in this team, we're going to get a lot of players who are actually able to play in this team. And that Amram is going to get to look at. Malacia's in training, but he's sort of in training. Amram does constantly sub the wingbacks and number 10s. He does it a lot. So Maguire should be back during the break too. So we will have almost a fully healthy team for Ruben Amorim to look at. Almost a fully healthy team. Now, I think Lenny Yoro might make Sunday's squad. I don't know that he would play. And I think it's probably too early for him to play, right? To start but maybe some minutes. I suspect he won't get any minutes and that he will continue to train over the next couple weeks and then come on as a sub maybe afterwards. But we need him because we need center backs right now. We are a little short on center backs. Now, I thought Lindelof did a really good job yesterday, surprisingly. I thought Evans has continued to do a really good job. But we only really have had Lindelof, Evans, De Ligt, and Lissandro. And we have 3 healthy. And we have 3 center back positions to play under Amorim. So we really do need Maguire and Yoro to come back because we've got to fit them into this team. We need to have enough players in that back 3. But yeah, there's a lot of players to work with over the break, which is really nice. Heaton at center back was, yeah, that would be great. But there's a lot of players to work with. I don't think we'll be seeing, Yoro starting or yet. But yeah, being able to come out in the kit and be in the squad, I think we should. I hope they do that because he's been in training. He'll be in training now for a week. Shaw will certainly not be starting yet either. So yeah, I don't think we'll get surprises, but there's a small chance Lenny Yoro could get some minutes. Small chance. Everybody did, right? Did everybody get on the pitch? Did Mason Mount get on the pitch yesterday? Yes. Mason Mount got on the pitch. Eriksson got on the pitch. The guys returning from injuries all got on the pitch yesterday. And I do think there's a decent chance that Lenny Yoro could get on the pitch for Sunday. But just maybe a small chance still. But there is a chance. They want to be careful, but at the same time realize it's not a muscle injury, right? It was a surgery on a broken bone. And so if he's healed enough, then, he should be able to get there at some point. It's not like you're looking like, oh, he's gonna pull his hamstring or something like that. So I'm not saying you don't be careful. I'm just saying you're probably gonna be all right. Let's see. Yeah, Rooney type injury. Well, I'm just saying it's different, like it's not like you have to heal from it because it's got a set, but it's not the same thing, I'm not saying you don't take risks. It's just a little different. He's not like got a bunch of muscle injuries that he's injury prone on. If he's healthy, if there's no pain and if he's fit, then he can play. Do you think Shaw might play at left center back? Yeah, I think he could for us for sure. I think there's a decent chance that he could. Personally, I'm just going to tell you my suspicion from some conversations that I had. I would not be surprised if Ruud leaves after this game. I think Rene Hake is already leaving. It was very notable that Darren Fletcher was essentially being the assistant coach yesterday, not Rene Hake. I think it's already pretty well established that he's probably going to lead. But I'm leaning towards Ruud leaving after this, just from some conversations. I don't think anybody has been given 100%. I'm just leaning towards it now, and just for sake of conversation, I'm not trying to like have a big thing of getting ahead on info or something, but just that's where I would be leaning from the people I speak with, is that he will leave after this. And I think for me personally, I think it would maybe be for the best, because like I don't want yeah, it's odd, you know, like yeah, like I want Amarim to make all his own assessments, you know what I mean? I don't want there to be any crossover from how, like we've just been talking about how the mismanagement, the misprofiling of players, things like that. You know, I don't want there to be, I don't want any, I don't want a single hint of what somebody else was thinking before to come into play for Ruben Amorim. You know, I want him to say it's 100%. He's seeing them all for the first time. You know what I mean? So yeah, in that respect, that's where I would lean towards it. Not that I wouldn't want, you know, to have people, you know, that maybe he could do some other role within the club or something like that. But like, I don't want to sit there feeling like, oh, he's telling him, you know, this player, I see him better here, it is here, and giving those assessments. And then you get weird decisions being made and you just have to think. It just leads to doubt in your mind. Like, is it because of them? Is it because of them that this decision is getting made? Are they like still like saying shit? And, you know, I don't want that. Right. And, you know, he has the same ideas as Ten Hag. We've seen it already. You know, I don't want any prejudice. Yeah. Any at all. Yeah, Malacia, I agreed. I've talked about that before. I don't think he will ever become a top level footballer again, just logically. And yeah, that's why he's been in team training for like 2 months now. If he was going to be fit, why isn't he fit? It doesn't take that long to get fit, you know? I think he will maybe reach a level of being able to make it on the pitch again, but I don't think at United's level ever. I don't think Fletcher will go. I think he'll move back fully into that role he had more as like an analyst pathways individual, you know, helping to fit first youth into first teamers and things like that. Malacia had some type of injury that required surgery. He went off on his own to get the surgery rather than following United's recommendation. Whoever performed the surgery botched it. He had to get it redone later. I think, was it once or twice, get it redone. And it's just not healing right. And it's essentially usually something like a ligament or something. I don't know the exact injury, but yeah, that's what happened, unfortunately. Who wrote this? It's just an article about, I don't know who wrote it, so it's hard to say whether there's anything actually in it or not. Anyway, yes, so I would prefer a clean sweep. But regardless, let's look at a couple things. I want to do our vote for this week's game, our vote for this week's starting lineup, and then I want to do a vote for Amorim's first starting lineup, and we'll revisit it. But assuming everybody is healthy, I want to do a vote for Amorim's first lineup. We're going to assume a 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1 type of thing. And I want to do a vote for that too and see, what do you guys think? Like, where are we at right now today? What would you guys like to see as the first lineup? So let's look at this real quick. This was last week's lineup that you voted for. This is last week's. So let's pull some positions and let's see if anybody's changing their minds as of yet. about these positions for starting. This is last week's. So let's pull these. Let's go through them. And then I'm going to do them in a little bit of bunches. And then we'll see. And then we're going to do that. We'll do an Amarim vote. And then we'll do an Amarim vote next. This is for this week. This is for this week. Final game under Ruud. We'll keep it at our 4-2-3-1. And we'll see. So yeah, vote quick. Vote quick. Vote quick. Vote. Like so many did recently. If it gives you PTSD to vote right now, I'm sorry. Some people may not want to vote. Yeah, there you go, Matthew. I was thinking of you. All right, we've got Højlund. Let's go left wing. I suspect a lot of this isn't going to change. Trump up top. No, he's a goalkeeper. He's a goalkeeper. Haven't you read the story? Is that story true? Does anybody know that story about him playing in like the Wolves youth team or in like a scrimmage or something? Is that story actually true? I actually have no idea, just purely out of curiosity, because I saw it pop up and did not bother to wanting to look into it. Wolves. Like, is that a true story? You couldn't find anything? I'm looking. There's Molyneux News website. Donald Trump, what we know. An old story has once gone viral, claiming that newly elected USA President Donald Trump once played for the Wolves youth team. In November 1991. Wow, it was that long ago. So some magazine made this claim in 1991? That's where it came from? Yeah, who would know? Who would know if that's actually true? Some random magazine made this claim. That is bizarre. What a weird thing. All right, let's get back to it. He'd have been 40 in 1991? Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, that sounds extremely unlikely. Yeah, good. You both had the same thought. All right, we'll keep this Rashford. Good Lord. That was the one of this, like, it was just such a weird thing. I was like, there's literally, like, no way this is true. There's just no way that this is true. Yeah, magazine was clickbait back in the day, right? Tabloids. As opposed to right now. Holy cow, Ahmad. This might be the most one-sided poll yet. Okay, we don't have to take long there. So we'll go Bruno, Mount, Erickson. Let's vote. People tend to, there's a lot of stuff always in chat about Bruno being benched and stuff, and then he always wins the votes anyway. Like, I always see, like, a lot of voices saying, like, Bruno should be benched, swap Bruno, Bruno should be benched, let's get Bruno benched. And then whenever I do the vote, he wins, like, pretty easily. It's kind of funny. It goes to show the silent majority just giving Matt more PTSD. The silent majority. The loudest are not always right. They're not always representing the totality. Willing to share results with Ruud. The stay-at-home voters. I think there's a case for Bruno not starting for Amarim, to be fair. When you look at, like, the The setup. I don't think he matches the profiles of some of the players, but that doesn't mean that he can't be adjusted. Third-party voters are ruining the chances of Mount winning this. Okay. Midfield, let's go. Gonna go with the best one first. I'll give you a couple crazy ideas here. This is for Ruud. This is the last vote for Ruud's team on Sunday. And then we're going to do our first... and then we are going to do our first Amarim team vote. See what we think. Yeah, can't go wrong with Casa Ugarte. We haven't lost a game. We haven't lost a game. And I think just the more that they play together, the better it'll get. The more they play together, the better it will get. And then I would put, you know, Eriksson in for Bruno as a sub and Mount in for one of Casemiro Ugarte later in the game. And I think that would be a smart way to change the game without losing too much of that energy in the midfield. Yeah, Casemiro does well alongside Ugarte too. I think that's one of the underrated dynamics of it, is he's freed up more to be more aggressive, to get more forward, to do some of the things that he's doing well. He can't do that if he's babysitting Eriksson. That's one of the other things that I think goes under the radar, you know? He can't do that if he's babysitting Eriksson. Yeah, it does. It adds an extra, and it's been useful. He's putting good crosses in. He's getting forward. You know, there is that dynamic that is effective. You know, there is that dynamic that works. That's, you know, even despite individual performances, that dynamic has been important. I think Casemiro's been really good recently. And that's part of why he is freed up to do more when he's not babysitting Eriksson and covering for him all game. Similarly to like the first game of the season, we saw Kobbie Mainoo and Casemiro. And I thought Casemiro was excellent in that game. He was freed up with having another hardworking runner next to him, you know? All right, Casa Ugarte. So we're probably not going to see any. We're not going to see any changes, are we? We're not going to see any changes. You guys, I'm going to put Shaw in here in case anyone thinks that he should be thrown in right away on Sunday. He's going to get injured anyway. He might as well get one start out of it before he gets hurt in training. Unfortunately. No, but honestly, it'll be Mazraoui pretty easily. All right, and the Mazraoui. I'll do one more on the center backs, though I don't think we really have any question here. Should we give Evans and Lindelof another run out? I don't know. I'll just do a few. It's going to obviously be... You're trying to break Shaw before Amarim arrives. Is Amarim starting Monday? Well, it says November 11th, so I imagine he will be flying in on November 11th. Excuse me. Sandro and Delict. Yeah, that's going to win easily. All right, so we didn't change. This is what everybody thinks is our best team. I can't disagree. I think this is our best team by some margin right now. You know, under this 4-2-3-1, right? I think this is easily our best setup. Pretty obviously, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of baffling why we're not starting this, but this is the best team that we have for the 4-2-3-1. And what's wild is we've never seen this team. When you think about it, We've never seen this team. I don't think we've ever seen it. We've not started with this team once. And it's our best team. We've not played it once. And it's pretty obviously our best 11 for me. By India. Yeah, 7. I mean, I agree. That's why I said, like, I would hope that we get, you know, well, yeah, Kabi is injured. You're correct there. I would say Kabi could be in there. Either way, we haven't seen that, you know. Whether Kabi in for one of those midfielders, we haven't seen that either. Yeah. This is what's fit right now, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a fit team, and we haven't seen it. And all of these players have been fit now for... How long have these players been fit for? Since the second, third week? And we've not seen it. That's crazy when you think about it. That's absolutely crazy to me. I can't... It's like baffling. We've not seen this. Anyway, all right. So let me reset this, and then we're going to do it with a 3-4-2-1. We're going to start it from scratch. Oh, this should be fun. I'm excited about this. And then we're going to assume Kabi Ugarte. Yeah, sure. Sure. If that's what I would do as well. We're going to assume, but then I think you can easily rotate Casemiro in there, which is the nice part. We're going to assume everybody's fit that we have right now. Like the returners, you know, everybody is fit for this vote. Okay. All right. So we're going to assume everybody's fit. Let's start up top. This one is probably the most obvious on the whole pitch. That in general, this suits. It's gonna be Rasmus. I mean, there's no doubt that it suits Rasmus Højlund quite perfectly. This is probably the most clear. There we go. It's probably the most clear position on the pitch. Yeah, where does Bruno play? It's unclear. It's unclear. It's unclear. Okay. Højlund was going to win that one easily. So now, let's go with your left in. I'm not going to say just 10. I'm going to say left inside forward 10. Is it Bruno? Oh, the Rashford. Garnacho. Who else could it be? Mount? I don't know. All right. Who is our best left inside forward /10? Still Rashford and Ahmad for you? I would love to see that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Mount has played there. That's why I included him. He's played in somewhat of that position. I think it's got to be Rashford as well. I think it's very, very... No, Mainu will not play in that front three. I can almost guarantee that. He just won't. I've got a spot for Garnacho. I've got a spot for Garnacho that I'm going to vote for. And you know what it is already. I'll put Xerxes on the right. I'll put Xerxes on the right option poll, Avrad. I'll put him on the other one. All right, so we're going to do Rashi here. And then for this one, we're going with our right inside forward 10. And we're going to put Ahmad and Bruno as our top options. And then we're going to throw in Garnacho. And I'll put Xerxes too. And I've got another spot for Mount too. Though I don't think Mount's going to be a starter like in any way. So there's not a, like everybody voted for Bruno. Like Bruno definitely easily won the 10 vote, but with a change in formation, then it becomes harder to fit Bruno in. It's interesting. Yeah, this is probably the most interesting vote in the whole 11. I would agree. When you round out this front three, Amorim prefers players who carry the ball into the box. That's what I see as well. That's what I see as well, personally. Mount might be too. He's not going to win the vote, Ali. I actually agree with you. I think he'd be a good sub in those positions. He's not going to win the vote for starting, but I do agree that he could fit into those positions for sure. There's a few positions Mount could fit in. His flexibility might help him get on the pitch more because he could fit in the two forward positions, and he could also fit in one of these. And so he has 3 spots you could see Mason Mount getting subbed in, I think. And that actually will be advantageous for him. All right, so Ahmad's winning this one. Okay. Let's go with our midfield pairing. No, sorry. I'm gonna make this really clear, okay? I'm going to call one an 8 and one a 6 because it really does play that way. One of them is crashing the box and one of them is not, you know? One of them is crashing the box and one of them is less crashing the box and is more defensive. One of them joins the 6 in attack and the other one tends to hold back a little bit more. So I'm going to do this as the 8. We're going to separate them out. This is going to be your 8. Doesn't matter left or right, but yeah, like Morita's an 8, Yolmand is a 6. I think Mainu Nagarte is the simple answer here too, right? Yeah. I guess I could have put Casemiro in there because he could be the 8 too. We've got a lot of options for that position, frankly. You know, Casemiro could play that spot, Pabi could play that spot, Mount could play that spot, even Bruno could play that spot. Why exactly is it hard to fit Bruno in? I think, Rick, because the way that we've all seen Bruno is that he's a ball-dominant 10 that everything goes through. That player does not exist in the Sporting team. You know, that player doesn't really exist for Amorim. And at most, it might be one of those forwards, but he likes them to be more dribbler carriers, players making runs, making gaps for the striker, things like that. He does not have that focal point in his team in the same way. If anything, his striker is his focal point, you know, in the attack. If anything, it's the striker in an Amorim team because he loves to build up into wide areas and attack through the wide areas and bring it to the middle when you're ready to shoot. It's very, very interesting. No, Bruno actually left right before he joined. Look, I think Bruno's going to end up playing in that position, by the way. I think Bruno will play where Ahmad is, at least to start. I would strongly suspect he will. Just reality. I'm not saying, you know, this is what people think. I think Bruno's going to end up starting there a lot. But I do think it'll be a lot of rotation, and I don't think he'll be as nailed on as he was before. I think he will, at the start, play where Ahmad is, for sure. Like, almost guaranteed. Almost guaranteed. I think he'll play in this spot to start. But as we build into it and such, I would imagine he's not going to be as indispensable. That's how I feel. I think he'll become less, viewed as droppable there. All right, and then for the 6... there's no club politics that'll prevent someone from being benched. There's just none. Eriksson is, I think, the most odd man out on the whole thing. Because I have no idea how a player like him can play in an Amorim system with the way that they have to, with the way the midfielders work. I don't know how it would be possible. But that's why I hope we don't compromise on that too, because I don't want to see us not do what we should be doing, you know. But we need a lot of players. We need a lot of players, you know. So Bruno's fine. Look, Bruno, Mount, Casemiro can all play in these two positions with Ugarte and Mainu. They could all fit in there. And then Bruno and Mount can also fit into one of these two positions. So there's a lot of minutes and a lot of rotation around. That's what I see. There's a lot of minutes and a lot of rotations that will happen. Okay, let's go left wing back. Maybe 7, we'll see. The nice part about this season is he has a free hit. He has a free hit. I don't know why I have a feeling Amarim won't play this. If he doesn't, he won't succeed here. He strongly believes his formation is a big part of his success. It's a big part of his philosophy. He's so strict with it. Could it take a couple of games? Perhaps. But, I mean, it'd be very weird to sign a coach like him and then have him change formation. Like, hey, you've done all these amazing things with a back 3. Switch to a back 4 and then figure out how to set up your midfield the same way. I don't think he will know how. His wingbacks are so important to him. So important to him. Yeah, this is for Ipswich. We're going to assume he's playing a 3-4-3 for Ipswich. Or 3-4-2-1. This is kind of close. This is kind of close. I think Shaw would be great there still. You know, obviously we know the issue is the injuries. We know it. I mean, look, we all know it, but if he's fit, he's great. I mean, if he's fit, there's probably nobody better for that position. But I think Garnacho will be yeah, I think Garnacho's a shout here. I really do. Yeah, correct, RS. He lost, and then he said he would. Didn't he say he would quit if he lost the next game? And then he switched it and never looked back after that. Like literally never. I believe he said he would quit if he'd lost the next game, and then he switched to that formation, and he's been amazing. It's been amazing since then. I'm intrigued by everyone's thoughts on the center backs, though. All right, so let's go left center back. Left center back. I'm going to give you 3 options. He does use wingers a lot, but it may be that they don't have defenders with the technical capabilities. A captain's vote. Ooh, good call. We could do a captain's vote. Shaw won the left wing back, or I would have put him in the vote. I can't put him twice. I can't put him in twice. It wouldn't make sense to pick an 11 with him twice. I mean, I can give you guys the choice. Shaw left center back, Garnacho left wing back, or Mazraoui left wing back, and see if you prefer that to Shaw Lissandro. I'll give you that choice in a second if you guys want to vote on that. Here, we know Lissandro's winning this one, so let me give you an option here, just in case. I'll give you a... Just out of curiosity, just in case anybody, I don't know. It actually seemed like it might be kind of close, but I could be wrong. It seems like there was a lot of people thinking this way. I think this is better. Shaw and Lissandro, I think, is better. I think because the pass progression there is insane, and the carrying progressions is really good too. All right, it's not changing. It's not like there's nobody voting for it, but it's not changing. All right, CCB. There's only 2 options here. That makes sense for me. Yeah, Shaw's a good carrier of the ball. I think this should be closer than it will be. I think this should be closer than it will be. I'm not saying De Ligt doesn't deserve that spot, because I think he does. He's great. But Maguire's really good in that position. He'll be really good in that position for us too. But I think De Ligt is really perfect. I think De Ligt's really perfect. I really, really do not believe Yoro will be a central center back at all. I don't think it fits his skill set in the slightest. He needs to be in the wide areas defending the channels. Not wrestling, stepping up, wrestling defenders, but being the sweeper, the cover. Also at the back post in the air. Okay. I know it's an issue with Lissandro on the other side too. There's no doubt about it. It's a concern. It's a concern, you know? There's no doubt about that. It is a concern. Is it it's definitely a concern. Where am I? That's why we want Braithwaite, yeah. I mean, Yoro's going to win this incredibly easily, right? Lenny. I mean, most of it, everybody knows. I'm just going to end it there, right? I don't think Mazraoui should be a right center back, like, at all. I think it neutralizes his strengths for sure. All right, let's do Maz and Diallo. I will give you the keeper vote, even though it's stupid. Mazraoui is going to win this one pretty clean. I mean, this is a hell of a team to me. I think it's a really, really good team. And, I mean, damn, it's a good team. Okay. I would agree with you, and especially in a situation where, you know, you're gonna get more going forward. All right, I did not. That was already obvious. I'm calling it. I've seen enough. So yeah, I mean, look, this is the team, right? And the really nice part is, like I said, I think we have this. This would be probably my pick too, and I think we have really good rotation. That's the nice part where I look at it and I'm like, yeah, this is a good team, but there's also like a lot of rotations. Bruno and Mount can fit into 3 of these positions. Casemiro can fit into these positions. You could get a winger out here. You can Xerxes, I think he could fit in here with different runners. You can get Garnacho into 3 or 4 different positions on his team. You've got Maguire. You've got, we need a little more center back depth for sure. The biggest thing is my biggest concern would be right here. Left center back, especially the depth, someone to defend the channels. And Shaw not being healthy. That would be my biggest concerns for sure. But then look at the ages. You know, this is where it's like, look, this is a good team that I think can learn. What's this, 20 years old? 21 years old? 27? 20 or 19 still? 23? 27? 19? 24? Maybe 25 now? 27? 27? 27? I mean, this is a good blend of players that could stick with this for a long time in there. And that's why I would like it. Let's do the captain vote. Lissandro, De Ligt. I'm going to do actually reasonable suggestions here. I think there's only 4 potential, 18, probably still 18. I think there's only actually 4 potential captains that could be selected in this. I think those are the only 4 players who could get captain, by the way. Ugarte won't get captain, Marcus. Not at this stage. I mean, maybe I could have put Onana into this, but I don't like keeper captains like ever. I hate keep. I don't ever want to keep keeper captain. You're probably right, IR. That's why I was saying, like, I think Onana probably has a really decent chance of being captain in this. I put Shaw in because Shaw is known as a leader in the dressing room. He just is. He is. Whether he's fit or not, whatever. But if he's playing here, this is for the statement that he's playing here. Shaw is more likely to be captain than any other player on this team from a standpoint of, like, if they were to think what the dressing room. Now, Amorim, I don't even know how he picks captains. That would be something worth looking into. I actually have no info on that, how he picks captains. But I think it might be too soon for De Ligt. So I would suggest on this whole team that it would be Onana or Lissandro. That's what I would suggest. But it's likely Bruno will play and then he'll be captain. But we'll see. We don't know. We don't know if Maguire plays, he might be captain. Yeah. Good call there too. But we don't know how Amorim picks his captains. I actually have no idea. And what he values. That I have not looked into. That might be worth looking into. It might be worth looking into. So for now, we'll say it's Matthijs de Ligt, right? Does this have like a captaincy thing? Oh, I have to pick a picture, unfortunately. Oh, wait, yeah, here we go. Yeah, cool. You know, Diallo and Bruno are his favorites because they speak Portuguese? Because they're Portuguese. Maybe. Could well be. Anyway, cool. Well, this was fun. This was long. As you can see, the snow has been piling up while I've been talking. So I'm going to have to get work done and get out of here so that I don't get stuck. But yeah, that was cool. It was fun to hang out. Look at that. I think that was a good time. I'm very excited. I'm so excited for seeing. Yeah, school's closed, so 5 days. 5 days. 3 days in a row, school's been closed here. Never seen anything like that. But we're supposed to get like 2.5 feet of snow where I am, so I guess it's understandable now. Left center backs and left wing backs needed. But yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have him show up. I'm very excited to see him in training. I'm very excited to hear what he thinks. And it is what it is. So thank you all for hanging out with me. It's been a lot of fun. And I will be here for the watch along Sunday morning against Leicester, the last game for Van Nistelrooy. So make sure to follow me there. Yeah, my house will be fine. My house. The only thing I get worried about with my house is if there's too much weight on the roof, you can get leaks and stuff. That kind of sucks if that happens, but we should be okay. Thank you all, and I will see you later. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Come join me on Sunday for the last one, and we'll make content, and I'll probably try to meet up with some people during the break for videos and collaborations and things as we get going, okay? I'm going to do a video on like a shopping list for Amorim as well, for what I see would be the best players, best fits, things like that. And then we'll put that out next week for the break. So we have some good stuff to watch, okay?